Well, I'd like to thank everyone here for inviting me, Missy, and the Union CSEA, SEIU for having me down to really view the importance of paraprofessionals to not only Shuttle Rock School, but to the Danbury school system in general. It's a personal issue for me, as I've mentioned to a lot of my friends here. My mother was a paraprofessional in the Wethersfield, Connecticut school system. She did it because she loved the work, as the paraprofessionals here do. Unfortunately, as is all too often the case, we don't do a good enough job compensating our paraprofessionals for the work that they do, and we have a hard time keeping very good people on the job, as we've heard in some very real stories this afternoon, because of those issues. And so really, what I take from today is, one, just that this school in particular, the special education programs, the ESL programs, cannot function without the work of paraprofessionals. Two, what a demanding and varied job it is to be doing very physical activity with intensely disabled students at one moment, to be supervising reading the next moment, to be guiding students through emotional and psychological issues the next. This is an incredibly demanding job, and we are frankly so lucky to have the people that are doing it. And three, that as leaders in government at any level, we need to do a better job of valuing the work of paraprofessionals and compensating them for the real value of their work. Now that most obviously takes place at the local level, as local boards of education and city councils and boards of selectmen are making their decisions on how to fund government services. But really that starts at the top. That starts in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of mandates that are handed down to schools that the funding has not followed. A lot of the work we viewed here today and talked about here today was relative to special education. And the special education requirements for a school like this are federal requirements. And when they were put into place, the federal government promised that it would pay 40% of the cost, that it would really share in the important burden of paying for the work that paraprofessionals do with states and local school districts. Over time, the federal government has abdicated its commitment to funding these programs. And today, the state of Connecticut receives about 8% of its special education budget from the federal government. That can't stand any longer. It adds to the crisis as schools and school districts try to put together their budget, and it puts downward pressure on the compensation for paraprofessionals. So I'm here today just to, it was great to be able to shadow some of the work of these great men and women, and to really bring back their stories to Washington as we try to fight for more funding for the services here. So with that, maybe I'll turn it over to Missy.
Thank you. I want to thank Chris for coming down and walking a day in our shoes, and he says it best.
I've been in the Danbury system for over 30 years and started when my children were in elementary school as a volunteer, and then was hired to finish a school year at another school. In that fall, I came to Shelter Rock. I've been in this building for 28 years, and Missy said it all. I love it. The pay isn't as good as I'd like it to be, but I like what I do, and that's why I keep coming back every year. And I'm very thankful that Congressman Murphy came to see what we do, and especially the tutors in the special ed program. They deserve a lot more.